Hello everyone and welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida. We are here at the Daytona International Speedway for the Coke Zero Sugar 400, the 14th race of the AKG Cup Series, season number 5. And well, 3 races left before the chase begins, including this race. And out of the remaining regular season races, this race may well be the one that completely changes how the standings look throughout the entire series, but more importantly for those final few chase positions in particular. And of course here at Daytona, it is very, very chaotic. Anything can happen, anyone can win, and it will be very interesting to see how the field looks after tonight's race. 3 drivers have locked themselves into the chase, those being Tristan Allen in the number 14, who locked himself in after Rockingham, Jake Rogers in the 98, and Alexander Rowe in the 51, who locked themselves in last week after a couple good runs at Charlotte. So, you know, we have a lot of drivers that also have very good positions to make a very good shape, but the bubble spots, they're very close, 14th through to 20th in points, separated by only 36 points. So, you know, we could see a lot of change by the end of tonight in terms of who's in the top 16 and who is out. And those guys in particular, those guys that are 14th through to 16th, and anyone really around that kind of area, you know, they cannot afford to get involved in an incident tonight. The Coke Zero Sugar 400, 40 laps long, 100 miles long around this 2.5 mile super speedway. It's the first of 2 tracks, Talladega being the other one, that has double ups, and definitely be a lot of chaos like we saw in the Daytona 500 at the beginning of the season. The starting lineup will be on the bottom of your screen as always, and for the first time this year it's Henry Gore on the pole, and he'll be joined by Benny Watson, who finished second at Talladega. Row 2, Watson's teammate Nathan Stapleton was the Talladega pole sitter, he starts third, and Tacoma Yassi with an excellent 4th place start. Row 3, Richard Fridge comes into this race 14th in points, 28 to the good as it stands. Dawson Miller was the Duel 2 winner here earlier in the season. Row 4, Charlie Davenport in the number 42 and his Hairgel Motorsports teammate William Brock. Brock comes into this race 5 points behind 16th, he's 17th in points, starting from the 8th position. Row 5, Julio Caesar, the Season 3 winner of this race. His teammate Kian Raleigh will join him on Row 5, both guys looking to lock up a chase spot. Row 6, Jake Rogers locked into the chase as already mentioned, and Mitchell Collins comes into this race 10 points behind, 16th in points, 18th in points, looking to get his way back in. Row 7, Tristan Allen locked into the chase and the Season 1 winner of this race, and Dominic Anthony comes into this race 9th in points. Row 8, Jamie Rose in the number 40, 25 points off 16th, comes into this race 21st in points, and the Daytona 500 pole sitter Alexander Rowe also locked into the chase. Row 9, Noah Clifton, last week's upset winner. He's 5 points ahead of 17th in points with that win. And Colin Denton comes into this race 10 points ahead. Both those guys need very good runs tonight. And rounding out the top 20, the Daytona 500 champion Eli Bright comes into this race top 10 in points. And Simon Nichols, 55 points to the good, can really solidify a chase spot with a good result tonight. And the rest of the starting lineup, of course, rolling on bottom of the screen. You see the cars are out on track, going through the pace lap, warming up the tyres, getting cars ready to go for 40 laps of action, 100 miles long, and should be a very entertaining race. Of course, Daytona, in the few races, because of course we had speed weeks here, it's pretty interesting in the sense that, you know, the outside lane does work a lot of the time. You can hold the ground for a long time on that outside lane, and it'll be interesting to see if that can happen again. Dawson Miller, who I actually said was Duel 2 winner, I meant Duel 1, won this race and led basically every lap of the Duel by leading on that outside lane. So it will be very interesting to see. Race info, race 14 to 24, 40 laps, 100 miles long, and you see the previous winners of this race on the screen, and there are the standings coming into tonight's race. You take a look for yourself. And those are the guys really in contention for those final few positions. Pace cars on pit road, and it'll be Henry Gore and Benny Watson, 2 veterans of the series, who will lead the field to the green, and their green flags out, and we are underway in the Coke Zero Sugar 400. To the outside goes Nathan Stapleton. He went onto the inside. Benny Watson did not get going at all in the 96, and he's already fallen back to 6th on that outside lane. But Stapleton started 3rd and is now going to the outside lane, and he actually might lead the first lap, and it looks like he will. What a move from Stapleton. He leads the first lap of action in the number 97. Started on that inside lane, started 3rd, went his way around the outside of Henry Gore, and he leads the first lap here at Daytona. We got 3 wide behind. Richard Fridge in the 26 comes into this race 14th in points. I'm sure you just saw the standings. Currently in 2nd on that outside lane. Gore in the middle. As you see now, Fridge going to the inside here, potentially trying to take this race lead away from this 97, and would be, well, coming sort of fresh off a win last week, South Florida Motorsports. Noah Clifton, of course, in the Coca-Cola 600, and the second ever win for that team. And currently, as it stands, 2 cars in the chase, and Fridge leads the second lap of action, but 2 cars in the chase, you know, good position for them. As you see Stapleton trying to fight back on that outside lane. And they're going to be side by side. Still Gore potentially going for a move to the inside of Fridge, but he's not going to. He's going to hold back for the moment. But Fridge comes into this race 28 points ahead. He can go a long way to securing that chase berth, and his first full season. Ran the last 2 seasons part-time. But he's now driving full-time with the 26. Stapleton and Fridge, ironically, 2 of the 3 owner drivers in this field. Both of them ran part-time in season 4. And Stapleton will lead that lap of action. Stapleton's season not being as good as the 26, but well, started on pole at Talladega, finished 4th in the 500. Of course, the Eli Bryant won the 500 for his own team. So it's been a good year for NS Racing and South Florida Motorsports. These 2 teams actually 4th and 5th in the teams championships behind the big 3 teams, DW, Gifford, Trinink, and Nicotech. NS Racing just ahead. Of course, I think we got 4 wide. That is, oh, that's dangerous. Jamie Rose on the bottom there. That was, I think Kian Raleigh in the 10 pulled out of that one with Rogers and Caesar. Stapleton leads yet another lap. And as you can see, that outside lane, I talked about it momentarily. The outside lane, usually the place to go, because it does hold actually quite well here at Daytona. And down that back straightaway here on lap number 5. Still a long way to go in this one. We saw our first case of 4 wide, and well, of course, if you watch the 500 and other Daytona races, you probably know that 4 wide is less than ideal. For the most part, it does usually lead to some accidents, whether that's off. Usually it happens off of here. Turn 4, heading towards the tri-oval. As Stapleton will lead another lap. Ian Watson, teammates there, having a good connection on that outside lane. But off of turn 4, and sometimes you can get it here in turn, off of, hell, even in turn 2 and before turn 1, I should say. You know, it can have 4 wide, and it does end badly at times. Here we go. We might have some 3 wide action here for the lead. Henry Gore regrouping himself after getting swallowed up by Stapleton on that outside lane. He's got help from Davenport as Stapleton clear now out in front. There's Davenport in the 42 on that inside lane. And Gore with a good push. And at the line, it will be the 72 who leads that lap. Henry Gore's had an interesting season in the sense that he hasn't really been a race-winning driver at all. To be honest, we got 3 wide for the lead. Here goes Davenport to the inside for Hairgel Motorsports. Jamie Rose. There's our last winner. Noah Clifton in the 6. He's on that inside lane and pushed by Porkins. But Davenport, 3 wide to the inside. I was saying about Gore, he's had an interesting season as Jamie Rose might try and make it 4 wide. Thankfully, we're all good for the moment. But Henry Gore's had an interesting season. Hasn't really been a race contender besides maybe the 500. That was possibly the only race where really he was a guy in contention for the win. So, you know, currently it didn't lead that lap. Davenport led that lap, but started on pole for this one. He clears up to the outside, clears Stapleton. Rose giving a good push to Davenport. And this team, Hairgel Motorsports, confirmation they'll be coming back if there is a Season 6. There's no word on whether that will happen as of... Well, no word as of yet as to whether that will return. Well, the series will return, but... Hairgel Motorsports, if it were to happen, will return, and confirmation that there are big shake-ups throughout the team. So, you know, and that probably includes drivers, and that means is Gore trying to get by on that outside lane. He's got help from the two NS racing cars. But for Davenport, this is a big race. This is a good opportunity. He's leading right now. He's had some good moments this year, but way down in the points. It looks like he'll miss the chase in his rookie season. Gore trying to clear the 42, and he will on that outside lane. Once again, proof that that outside lane, as long as you get the right connection, is the way to go. You see Rose on that inside lane falling back a little bit, but Davenport has got to prove himself here at the back end of this season because you know, I don't know if he'll return to that team, and that team, Hairgel, the team owner Hairgel Arvin Alonso, looks like there'll be big changes for them next year. As Gore continuing to lead, he's clear out in front right now, and you can this is how Dawson Miller did. He cleared and was able to just hold off everybody in that that dual race that we talked about a little earlier. Clifton maybe going for 4 wide, but decides against it in the end. But how did that win for Clifton? Started 41st. It's a very good win last time out at Charlotte. First career win as Davenport has gone to the inside. And this car, the 42, I should actually mention this as well, has actually had some success here in the past at Daytona. Not in the points-paying race, but Colin Dryberg, who drove the 42 part-time last season, won the shootout, which we didn't have this year, but Dryberg no longer at the series, but primary sponsor Castrol sticking around with the team in the 42 entry, and Davenport on that inside lane trying to get that race lead, but the 42 has had some success here in terms of getting wins, and obviously won the shootout, so it's it'll be interesting to see. He's currently right now still side by side between he and Henry Gore, and this is what we saw in the 500. We saw this a lot of this, particularly saw a lot of this throughout the race entirely, as now Clifton's coming to the inside. He's shuffled Rose to the middle line, and of course Clifton coming off that win last week and at Charlotte. Still side by side, and that outside lane, it's a pretty good group of guys. You actually look on the outside: Gore, Stapleton, Watson, Yassi, Caesar back in there in the 25, Jake Rogers, and Kean Riley. That's a good, strong outside lane, but Davenport really putting up a good fight here on that inside lane. But, you know, the problem is it is so hard to overtake for the lead here, as I think we'll take some opportunity here to go back in, because there's been a few changes, and I'm sure some of you may have noticed it early on. This is the 35. It used to be driven by Chris Maley. It is now being driven by Trey Wright, who drove the 50 for the majority of the season, but a bit of a reshuffle at Lynn Sheets Motorsports, and the guy on the inside, Cody Smart, made some reshuffling to his team as well. He's downgraded from 3 cars just to the 1 car, the number 2, and this guy was one of the guys on the outside looking in, Brandon Nelson. He's had a rough rookie campaign driving the 44 entry for Smart Motorsports, but immediately picked up another ride. He's now driving the 50 as Maley stepped down from the 35, so they shifted Nelson into the 50 and right up to the 35 into the car that is locked into the show. Nelson had to race his way or qualify his way in, and he did. So very interesting. Billy Natavia, of course, the other guy on the outside looking in, still currently without a ride. So, you know, it's an interesting situation brewing there. It's particularly at Smart Motorsports. A lot of rumblings going around right now about what the future holds in this series. So, you know, for the team and owner driver Cody Smart, who's back in the field as it currently stands. But of course, Smart could still make the chase. Still not terribly far off, only 13 points, but would have to move his way forward way down the order, because a lot of the guys like Rose, like Clifton, Fridge, you know, currently having pretty good runs. It is still Gore and Davenport battling for the lead, but Clifton on that left rear quarter panel trying to get to that inside lane, but he just can't get, doesn't have enough of a run to that inside lane. And once again, that 72 on that outside lane right now, just more proof that the outside lane is king, and I'm surprised we haven't had a yellow yet. They've been quite well behaved for the most part. We did see 4 wide early on, but they did get out of that pretty quickly. But it's been very good so far. Very clean racing, no issues, no one's had any problems, so that's the good thing. Still leading there is Gore. Hawkins in the 71, he's on that inside lane. He and Clifton, you see in the 6, and you see Carter Friesen back in there, the United Rentals, number 46. Those guys blew a great opportunity, great for a potential Daytona 500 win. They ran too long on fuel, particularly Clifton and Friesen. They finished way down the order and deserved a lot better in terms of the result they got. And trying to make amends of that right now is Clifton, trying to go to the lead here, 3 wide on that inside lane with the push from Hawkins. And, Clifton trying to... He's going to hang on that inside lane. Davenport could not clear, but South Florida Motorsports, this is their home race, and as you see, a little bit, there's Hawkins trying to make it 4 wide. Clifton's moving up, and this is where things can get a little bit dangerous. They are going to go 4 wide here. They've got to be careful. No, Hawkins are going to back out of it, so that's very, very close, and that's not what we want to see. We don't want to see 4 wide, because most of the time it does usually cause a wreck. So just got to be mindful of that. And behind Hawkins, David Johnson in the 5. Haven't seen a lot of him this year, but he's in the Hardy's, or the PPG colours, the throwback car. Lorenz Marga, Carter Friesen, Diego Yepes, Davenport's teammate. So, it's a very interesting bottom line moving their way to the front. And Clifton in the 6 is going to lead that lap. Still got so much of this race to go. We're only on lap 19, not even halfway through yet. But they're 3x3 through majority of the field now at this point. So we've got to be careful here, because we just don't want to see a 4 wide situation. There's Johnson in the 5. Missed a lot of races this year. Marga finished 40th in the 500. He's on the way up on that inside lane. As we're going to have 4 wide, I think. Or as Porker's going to back out of this one. They're making contact. Into the wall, and around goes Davenport. Around goes Gore, Miller, Yepes, and other Stapleton upside down all over the top. Goes Christian Vargas. And tumbling, Reninasip involved as well. Oh, look at the damage on the 43. It's been a rough year for Vargas, and that was unbelievable. Gore was in it. Stapleton was in it in the 97. Brandon Bent in the 27 with a lot of damage. It looked like Julio Caesar, maybe Eli Bright involved. Denton's back in there. Davenport. So many cars torn up. My goodness, there is the 27. That car is destroyed. Rogers looks to be involved as well. That's Logan Williams in the 7. He was involved in the crash in the 500 as well. It's not been a happy hunting ground for him. My goodness, Keenan Raleigh, I think Steinbach, Tristan Allen certainly got a piece of it. There's the front end damage you can see. Looks like, I think Alexander Rose got damaged. Man, that's a lot of cars involved in this accident. And it was caused by 4 wide. Noah Clifton's leader. Let's take a look what happened. Well, it's because of 4 wide. Hawkins makes a 4 wide. Clifton allows it to happen. He goes up into Davenport. And Davenport will go up into Henry Gore, and this will get ugly. Right there, end of the wall, and around goes the 42, and it's on. It's on from there. Stapleton gets a piece of it, and then they all just start crashing into each other. They all just come down the racetrack trying to avoid, and just all crash into each other. And the track's blocked at this point. You can see Miller, Yassi, the Yepes, but this guy clearly gets the worst of it. Christian Vargas runs into Stapleton, and then Brandon Bent runs into the 43 and tips him over. That's end over end stuff for Vargas. And Logan Williams, Tristan Allen also involved. Mitchell Collins back in there, red in the sip, but the 43 tumbling over and over. Addison Steinbach gets a piece of it, and the 53 gets a piece of the 43. He's just tumbling through the tri-oval, and it's been one of those years for the 43 at New Collins for him this week, and of course he gets involved. There's Collins, he got a bit of it. Miller, Brock was back in there, Kelly Lee was back in there, Denton was back in there, Davenport with a huge amount of damage on the 42. Man, So many good cars. Stapleton, who led a lot of laps early. So there's the 43, completely destroyed. And then a sip gets run into by Henry Gore as well. So many good cars up towards the front of the field. So many cars that could have contended for the win. Involved in that one. Here's Noah Clifton's point of view. Oh, there they go. Just a big, big crash. Henry Gore's on board. Seeing the wall. Turn, sliding. And you can see them. There you go. Yeah, a couple of times there. 43 just tumbling through the trioval. And bang, just a little bit extra for measure. I think he saw a sip there and just ran into him. Through the smoke. Here's Brandon Bent's point of view. Parker store entry. Oh, and he would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for that 43. He ran into Vargas, ran into Stapleton and came down into Brandon Bent. That's what happened there. And a tough break for the 27. Here's Benny Wattson's point of view. He was on that outside lane. Look at that. 43 just came flying through there, and somehow I think Watson actually gets through this. Ooh, yeah, I think he got through that unscathed. Well done. Good piece of driving from Watson. The 96. Here's Simon Nichols' point of view. Autodesk Fusion 360 Chevrolet. He gets turned. There's someone turning from behind. Oh, just for good measure, runs into Caesar as well. Teammate on teammate combat. Right there, and here's real time. We'll follow Vargas here. The wall around. Right there. That's the hit. And then Vargas up and over, hit by Steinbach, and just... I don't think I've ever seen a car actually flip like that before, get tipped rear over front. That's a first. There's a first for everything, I guess, and Christian Vargas is 9, officially over in the Tourism Australia Dodge. Been a rough year for him, and no luck tonight. Noah Clifton's the race leader. Let's take you back to the green. Coming back to the green this time, Noah Clifton is leader. Jamie Rose is second. Jack Porkins is third. David Johnson is in fourth. And Richard Fridge rounds out the top 5. So Vargas out. Brandon Bent is out. Charlie Davenport is out. Diego Yepes is out. And many others. And, you know, it's just a tough break for all those guys involved. And, you know, thankfully for the guys that, you know, are competing for those final chase spots, guys like Fridge, guys like Clifton and Rose and Smart and Denton and all those guys, they got through relatively unscathed, so they'll be able to continue and still probably compete for this race win. So you know, that's the positive there. But for a lot of the guys, Brandon Bent, it's just been a rough year for Brandon Bent. Now 27, Vargas, same can be said there. Davenport's been involved in a few accidents that really weren't his own fault. Henry Gore's has had a difficult year in some aspects, and you know, it's not gonna get any better here. There is one guy though that certainly did get involved in that is currently in that chase battle. Mitchell Collins, he got a piece of it, so we'll see if he can stay up to speed in that number 99. But if he can't, he's way back at the back. You can barely see in the blue car, dark blue car at the back. If he can stay up to speed, we'll have to wait and see. Clifton's the leader. First restart of the night here at Daytona. Pretty good start for Clifton. Got a little bit of a jump on Rose in second position. Now Porkins to the inside for the second position behind them. Yeah, he's on the inside trying to get to that inside, and not much no help on that outside. Johnston and Fridge all battling back there for fourth. And now Porkins is going to drive his way to the inside and try and take this lead away from Clifton. And Fridge is going to close up onto try and help out this 71, although it's not quite there yet, and Clifton will lead that lap. And once again, the 71 and the 6 who are up front earlier in the year in the 500, they're up at the front. Once again, Richard Fridge, Friesen in the 46. Friesen led the most laps in the 500 earlier this year and then ran out of fuel. So some of the guys that were up there early in the year in the 500 are up here once again. As the 6 of Clifton trying to clear, won't be able to do so. And Hawkins, 71, still on that inside lane, but that inside lane just not quite connected right now, and Clifton's going to be able to hold the lead here with about 15 to go. Look back down the order here. There's William Brock. He's one of those drivers. Cody Smart, Colin Denton as well. You know, those three guys all kind of there in terms of that chase bubble we talked about earlier. As you see some guys back in here with damage, they're out of it. Simon Nichols back in there. Yepes. Yepes is actually still on the racetrack. Rogers, Miller, Trey Wright back in there. There's Collins in the 99. So he wasn't able to stay up to speed. And that will hurt the 99, particularly if Clifton, who comes into this race, of course, 16th in points, if he were to, you know, just for the sake of it, if he were to hold this position and win this race, the Devil would probably put the 99 pretty much out of contention. Hawkins and Clifton still side by side. The inside lane has started to form up. Rose on that outside. There's Lorenz Marga, already a much better Daytona race than the first one for him. And we haven't seen a lot of Lorenz Marga this year, but he's had some good runs here and there. He's on that inside lane, pushing the 26 and the 71. But it is still these two guys, Hawkins and Clifton, side by side here, and it looks like this time Hawkins with that push on that inside lane is going to get to the front and lead that lap. It's now double file for the most part, and we look back to Lorenz Marga. He's going to make it 3 wide as soon as I say that for the most part it's only double file throughout the field. And you've got Nonigan Scott back in there in the 78 who got through that somehow. He is going in the middle, and here we go. We got 4 wide again. Friesen, he's going to actually get out of that. But pretty close there. Marga certainly would have let that happen if he really wanted to. There is Scott. He got through that very well. He was ahead of Brandon Bent by 1 position. In that first accident, we look back throughout the order. Arthur Xavier here in the 59, having a decent run. And this is the pack back to here. So Halleck in the 16 and Eli Bright, the Daytona 500 champ. That's your pack right now. Marga's going for the lead here. He's going to go 3 wide to the inside. Velocista, by the way, this team, formerly known as Team Hanley, have not won since Charlotte Season 2. Zachary Fitzwater, ironically enough, was the driver that day. And, well, on that inside lane in third is certainly in with a shot to win it. Friesen, by the way, 46, actually got a career best finish. His first ever top 10 last time out of Charlotte. So, you know, at the moment backing it up quite well. Probably not going to make the chase, but, you know, good to see him having another good run after what has been a rough season for the most part. Marga once again trying to get to that inside lane underneath of the 71, but the 71 just with that middle lane assistance from Richard Fridge, it's just, and Clifton on that outside lane for that matter as well. You know, they're just able to continue to hold themselves out in front. We look back, Marga once again trying to get to that inside lane. He's got help from Friesen and Ryan Benjamin back in there, who was involved in that accident, Ryan Benjamin. And at the line, Clifton will lead that lap, but Benjamin in 36, he was involved in that crash. He was spinning around and all that, so able to hang himself, hang in there at the front of the field. Hawkins trying to clear Clifton, but Clifton just unable to clear. We've got a car coming up. That is Addison Steinbach, who's become a lap car in a few recent races, and this might get ugly. They might get, and he's going to block the middle lane. And only 5 guys are going to get away from here. Hawkins, Clifton, Marga, Friesen, and the 40 of JB Rose. Is now Steinbach's going to go to the outside lane. And that's going to hold up a lot of drivers here. And there's going to be a lot of angry drivers throughout this field. A lot of probably angry team owners for that matter as well. Except for maybe South Florida Motorsports. They seem like the only guys that got away with it there. Except you see Yassi getting through. But you see Denton and Cody Smart back in there. They were held up. And got to be careful here with Steinbach, this lap car. Oh, they're just trying to find a way around him right now. Halleck diving to the inside. Johnson, and there's Smart, and he's been by far and away the most affected out of those chase bubble guys. He really doesn't need it. He's 13 points back. Does not need to be involved in stuff like that. Now Collins has been lapped in the 99 as well, and we saw that he's well off the pace in the 99. So that's going to hurt his chances as well, as Porkins has a big lead. These 5 guys have broken away back in here. Oh, and they're going to catch up to Collins immediately. Oh, what a round! Round goes John Andrews on the back straightaway, and around goes another car. That's Denton in the 21. And that will trigger a yellow for sure. Andrews spinning on the back straightaway. I don't think he hit anything, but Denton into the outside wall for sure. The yellow is out. And at the line, Jamie Rose won the race back. So Porkins' big lead on the back straightaway. He got too far in front. And Rose now leading this race, but Denton came into this race 10 points to the good and now involved in this second yellow. That is that's a bad break for him, and that could put him in a lot of trouble. He's put his chase hopes in a bit of jeopardy there. Andrews also involved in the 55. It's been a rough year for him, the veteran, and not a good way to end the race for him. He was up in that second pack. Jamie Rose is the race leader in the number 40. She needs to win this race. 25 points back. She is the leader. Let's take a look at what happened to trigger the second caution of the night. John Andrews here is going to run up on these. He's going to try and get to the inside because Collins is on the outside and slowing up that outside lane. And Eli Bright's trying to get to the inside, and Andrews comes down, and Bright, with all the momentum, just gets into the left rear and turns him, and then Bright goes back up the racetrack trying to save that 95 and gets into Denton. Denton into the outside wall, and around he goes. Sliding on the back straightaway. And for the 21, it's not been a great year for that entire team, really, for the 21 team as a whole. But this is a really big blow, and you see, thankfully did not get more damage. It was such a minor accident. Andrews getting through that. It was such a minor accident for Daytona standards. And thankfully we got through that relatively okay. But it's not okay for Colin Denton in particular. His night is probably done. Here's Eli Bright. He just gets into the left rear. Still too much speed. Just trying to save the car, and he just gets into the 21. Not much really about that. Here's Colin Denton's point of view. Unlucky, very unlucky there for Denton. He was going to get through relatively okay, but Bright trying to save it, just slid back up into it. And that's probably got the worst end of it too, the 21. And here's a real time. 55 spins. 55 got out of it okay. He just spun around it. It wasn't too much of an issue. But see, near runs into the 21 there. But for Denton, that's a massive blow. Came into this race 10 points to the good, and then you got, Clifton is up front. Rose is up front. It's not good for him to be involved in this accident, and puts his chase hopefuls in jeopardy. That's a tough break for him. See if he can try and gain as many spots as possible on the restart. Jamie Rose is the race leader. Let's take you back for probably the last restart of the night. Here we go. This will be the second and final restart of the night because of the fact that it is so late in the going that we don't have enough time for another restart. So I don't think we'll get a second or a third yellow of the night, but we might. We'll have to wait and see. Jamie Rose is the race leader, and really she needs to win. She's 25 points back. She hasn't really had a great run in recent times, and right now leading this race, she really probably needs to win this race. In the number 40, Jack Porkins is in second. Lorenz Marker, Noah Clifton, and Carter Friesen. That's your top 5. And then William Brock, you see back in there, he's in 6th. And Kelly Lee, I mean, those two guys as well, Lee and Brock, both needing good runs as well because they're also right in contention. Particularly now, I mean, Denton, way down the order, involved in that crash. You know, now, I think around the 30th position. So, you know, they've got a really good opportunity here to put themselves in potentially a top 16 chance. But for Rose, particular, 25 points back off of Clifton, and came into this race 30 points off Denton. I mean, now is probably, I mean, this race, if she could get it, she can hold on from here. Put her in a very good, put her in a great position to potentially challenge for those final few chase positions. Pace cars on pit road. We're going to have about 3 laps to go. Rose, Porkins, Margaret, Clifton, and Friesen. Here we go. Green flag. Top 2 have got a good jump here. Rose and Porkins. And Porkins might try and make the move, and there he goes to the inside. This is what happened in the last restart. Rose didn't quite get enough of a jump away from Porkins, and Porkins went to the inside for what was second at the time, but now this is for the race lead. Rose trying to, you see that outside lane and the inside lanes, they're trying to get formed up. Clifton all over the back. Rose on, Lee, Rose's teammate, on that inside lane in the 76. Trying to, third on that inside lane. Watson behind. Brock is third on the inside lane in the number 1. There he is. So we've got 2 laps to go. It'll be interesting to see here if any of these other guys, I don't think any of the outside guys are going to win except for Rose, but any of the inside guys like Clifton, like Lee, Watson back in there, if they can make it 3 wide and make a move, potentially go for the win right here. Ryan Benjamin's trying to do that, but we'll see here. We're going to come to the white flag. This time, Rose trying to hang on to that outside lane. There's a little bit of gap between she and Marga in that. Oh, wait. Maybe they're just lining up for this. The last lap. White flag is in the air, and it will be the 71 of Porkins. Can he hold on for this last lap? And the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Clifton on the inside in the 6. Does he have anything to try and go back-to-back in this series? Side by side still, it's 2 by 2 throughout the entirety of the pack. Down this back straightaway. We've seen the outside lane get a pretty good run, and there it goes. There goes the 40. Very good run with help from Marga and Brock on that outside lane. But they're going to be side by side off at turn number 4. Porkins in the 71 on the inside lane. Rose in the 40 on the outside. I think Jamie Rose, with the help from Marga, is going to get it to the line. It will be Rose in the number 40 who wins the Coke Zero Sugar 400 for her first ever Cup Series win in her 14th start. And Rose going to victory lane. She needed to win it, and she did. How about it? And the number 40, this team, Premier Racing Motorsports, their first win of the year. Their first with Dodge. Their first since this race. 1 year ago. Jay Jefferson, the winner in that 76. And for the 40 team, the 40 itself has not won since Pocono. Of Season 3, Dominic Anthony was the driver that day. Jamie Rose gets it done. And we got back-to-back rookie winners. Noah Clifton did it last week and now Rose this week. And by golly, she needed to win that, and she did. Porkins second, Marga with third. Great drive by Marga. Clifton backs up his win with 4th, and William Brock, Kelly Lee 5th and 6th. Good runs for them as well. Look down the order. Cody Smart in 14th. So not a bad result in the end for him. Richard Fridge fell all the way back to 19th in the end. He was up there for a lot of that race. You can see him looking down the order, and a lot of these guys, most notably, Colin Denton, involved in that late race yellow, finishes 29th. And then over to back the field here. Collins in 35th. That is a massive blow to him in terms of his hopefuls of making the chase. And then these guys back in here, Brandon Bent and Christian Vargas involved in that big crash very early in the race. And here's the standings. We've got 8 drivers now locked into the chase. Allen, Rowe, Rogers, Hawkins, Watson, Miller, Raleigh, and Anthony. There's a 3-way tie for second in points. And then this is where it gets juicy. William Brock is now in the chase, and Colin Denton, who was 15th in points, is now 19th in points. He's fell from 10 points to the good to 14 outside, and Mitchell Collins also lost a lot of ground in that race, lost 25 points, and then all these guys back in here in the red officially eliminated from the chase, so they will not be making it in, unfortunately. It's a tough break for all of those guys, and I'll just try and finish out the year strong. Thank you so much for watching the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona. Congratulations to Jamie Rose on her first career win. And we will see you next week at Michigan.